Okay, this is just a stop, just out of the blue. We've avoided all the freeways, highways, tollways, and I'm just going through this very small village with a spectacular river going through it from the mountains. I would say the water is crystal clear and good to drink. And there's some unbelievable artifacts and ruins here that who knows how old they are, but I had to stop and put it on film. So I'll swing the camera around and just check this out. Imagine camping here, coming here on 2 motorbikes, putting a tent up in one of these older ruins and spending the night here. Or if you're into fishing, we've already seen fish in the river, and it's just fantastic. So there you have it. It's just a stream coming from the mountains. Obviously this is all the recent snow that's melted. You've got those beautiful looking, I don't know what you call it, that grass growing under the water. It looks super clean and good to drink. I'm not sure if it's good to drink, but I would say it is. Then you've got this old looking, historic looking bridge and wall, and just take a look at this. Now I reckon this old building is some sort of mill with a wheel that drags the water in, and that's the mill itself, with maybe a grinding stone that makes flour or whatever. But just check this out, it's just unreal. I'm not going to hit pause, I'm just going to keep it going and give you another angle. There's also, I don't know, I'll show it right in the middle of the screen now. I'm not sure what that's all about. Where is it? Just there. It's got like a number 8 on its side with the initials MNL, or is it the infinity sign? But just check out the old mill. I think it's an old mill. Just fantastic. You've got some old ruin there, and if you look at the base of that sign, you'll see someone's tapped into the water, and you can probably fill up your water bottles with it. I'd still use a filter, but I'd be game enough just to drink it directly from there. Now I'll just show you the back of this, what I think is the mill. There is some scratchings here from 1913, so I'd say it was probably older than that. What gives it away is just the way they made the hinges for the locks for the door. And if you come around the back, there has been a lot of effort to direct the river flow into the back of this, what I think is a mill of some sorts. So I'm just going to stay on the edge and show you. Now look at that. Look how clear the water is. Imagine being here in summer. I'd have a dip in that, no problems. And I think that's where the wheel was to direct the water under the mill. It's been blocked off, or it might have collapsed. But I would say that's where that grinding, normally I think stone wheel, is to grind the grain for flour or whatever it is. That's what I'm guessing it to be. But just look at the current. And if you're a kayaker, this will be fantastic. But you can see where there's a wall that's been built that directs the water this way. So that's quite interesting. But anyway, that is what it is. We've stopped here just because it just looks so beautiful. There's about 2 other little bridges that are similar to this one that's just here. And what a magical little place. So I'm not going to do a video of it. I'm just showing you what we stumbled into while just driving around to a location that we're about to go to. We're actually going to an old monastery that's somewhere in the area. We've got another about 10 to 15 minutes of driving before we get there. But I had to stop. This just looks medieval and just fantastic. So that's the path you have to take. Now I've walked maybe 20 metres down there, and even though you've got an uneven rock surface, it turns into this dark red clay mud thing. So I'm going to assume that when Josip comes back, his sneakers, runners, are going to be covered in red muck. It's very uneven, and it goes straight down. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm not that silly, but I wish I could, because I think it's going to be quite a spectacular view for him. But yeah, we'll give him half an hour. And we'll see how he goes. I think he's going to be puffed out himself. So if you are coming into this area, you're going to have to be fit, and you're going to be able to have the ability to go over a kilometre to make it there and back. And it is steep, it is rocky, and if it's been raining a day or so beforehand, you're going to have a lot of mud as well. So there you go, that's the location, and hopefully the drone will show exactly what it looks like. And it is, I think, a special place from what the images I saw on Google Maps was. Welcome back, subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion we're off to a monastery. It's in a little village called Krupa, and it's spelled K-R-U-P-A. Now, having arrived here, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's along a beautiful looking river where I think if you're a kayaker you'd be jumping for joy, but unfortunately you can't do any kayaking here. I'll show you the sign. I'll show you what's around this river first, and then we'll go into the monastery and have a bit of a sticky beak and see what we see. And hopefully we'll be able to get the drone up as well. So I'll spin the camera around and I'll show you this lovely old, it looks like a mill where the creek has been channeled off to go towards a building. And we might even see a whole bunch of goats coming our way, because we passed a herd of goats and the shepherd steering him down this way. So that could be quite interesting as well. That's if he does decide to come this way and he's not taking them to another paddock that's a little bit away from here. So I'll spin the camera around and let's have a look at this creek and this immediate area. Okay, so this is the sign here. I'm a little bit doubtful on whether or not that no fishing sign's legit. It looks like someone's just used a bit of paint to cross out for the fishing, but there's the sign for the area, and that's what the it's a national park. And I'll just show you some of where the water's been redirected towards this building here, which I'm going to guess, I could be wrong, that building there is some sort of mill, and there'll be a big wheel there that spins around, and it's got one of those stones, if I'm explaining it well enough, that grinds down the raw grain into a powder form for making bread and flour and all that sort of stuff. That's what I'm going to guess as being what it is. Now, I'm not sure if we can see it in the distance, but that's the monastery that we'll go to. We'll do that last. It is an Orthodox church, and there is a cemetery behind there. and that dog just did a wee on my front tyre. What's wrong with you? You can't do wee on people's cars. Okay, so I'll come this way and show you how they've diverted the water towards that, what I think is a mill, and these beautiful looking bridges that we just passed to get to this location. Now, unfortunately, that sign did say that there's no fishing here and there's no kayaking. So this is what it is. So it's a monastery, and it's called Krupa. So it's K-R-U-P-A, and it is. They do have a service here, and I'll just, if you can read that, you're doing a better job than me. So just press pause, so you can see. Dobrodošli. I know that's Croatian. That sort of says welcome. All those three things say welcome. There's the English part of it. So it's a monastery. It is open to visits every day. In winter, it's from 7 a.m. to 1700. Please enter the monastery properly dressed in peace and silence. So we'll definitely do that. And there is a monastery administration. Maybe that's a fee there. That's fine. Happy to apply with that. And then on this side is the Orthodox script with their fonts and what they use. So there you have it. So it is open, definitely. So obviously this is the first bridge we're going to come up to, but this one's had a bit of repair, which you'd expect after all these years. I'm not sure when this was built, but just take a look at that. Oof. It is just fantastic. Now, one of the beauties, once again, if you're coming out of season, there is absolutely no one here other than some goats and some dogs, and you have a free run of the place, which is just fantastic. So that's the run. I don't know if I'm pointing it right. That'll take you to that mill, what I believe it to be a mill. Now, it does look like a great place where one would do some kayaking, but as we saw the sign, there's no kayaking allowed in this immediate area. Maybe a little bit further down, it'd be okay, but in this immediate area, there is no kayaking, and there is that suggestion that there's no fishing, even though that's been hand painted. That might suggest that mightn't be 100% correct, but then again it could be as well. So here's this other little bridge we drove over. And I do like the path. The path is just fantastic. So this is one side of where the river flows under this bridge. And boy, does it flow fast. It is great. And I have got a little buddy here. He's keeping an eye on me. I'm just going to go a little bit further to give you an idea. The road to this location, or this monastery and national park, easy drive, roads are great, any car can make it, it's not difficult at all. It is windy, but the road to this particular place was very, very good. So here we have another little bridge with the very fast. Now, I'm only going to guess, because we've had a bit of snow in the mountains and now it's warmed up again, this is probably why this is flowing so fast. But gee, it really is a very peaceful sort of location. So this is just another angle of how you drive into that monastery. Now, the monastery is large and we're not all that far away from it, yet it is totally camouflaged extremely well as you approach it. So it sort of jumps out at you, and I'm just trying to highlight that. And yeah, hopefully the drone will show that. It is a pity that you can't fish here. I think if you're a fly fisherman, this would be fantastic, but if you can't, you can't. Okay, so here we are at the monastery, and as you can see, it's a very large structure. It is open, and we'll make our way to the first door here, and let's see what we see. There are people that I believe maybe do work here. There are a number of cars, even though it's the off-peak season, and we have seen a shepherd in the area. And here's a similar sign that we saw a little bit earlier, just telling you what the times are for it to be open. And we'll just go straight up here, have a look. Now, from my understanding, a monastery is somewhere where nuns and priests come to work, live, and pray, I guess, and contemplate life. And this is one of those places. I'm not sure if this is actually somewhere where you can actually stay the night, or if there's a building nearby where they will accommodate people with sort of like an Airbnb sort of setup. So there's the bells. We won't be ringing those bells for sure. And there's the front door. And let's see if we can go in. And yes, we can. Wow. Hi. This is fantastic. Absolutely. It looks like some maintenance is going on. There we have some bells to the right. Just fantastic. Okay. So that's the side door to the chapel, and we've made it into their courtyard. And I'm going to guess and say this is their accommodation for the priests and nuns. It's a very tranquil sort of place, absolutely. And they've got a fountain in the middle. They do have a souvenir shop. This is another entrance just there to this courtyard. But right in front of you is the actual church. And once again, this is an Orthodox Church, not a Catholic church. But it is just fantastic. You've just got to bear in mind we are in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And you've got a beautiful river that runs right by it. And it is just fantastic. So you can get cups and whatnot as souvenirs here. And yeah, just simple little souvenirs. It'd be nice if they made those sort of things on site, but I don't know. But as you can see, the path we're walking on, it is very old. The ceiling height is quite low as well. So I guess back in the day, people were a little bit shorter. Wow. Okay, that's great. I might go around the perimeter a little bit, but then again the drone should cover all the perimeter as well. I don't want to really spend too much time at this location, so we don't interrupt the people who are here. It's good to see they've got security cameras. That's getting to be a bit of a norm these days. Okay, there's some signs giving you directions to everything. So you've got the church, the candle burner, souvenir shop and the museum. The museum is actually closed and you're not allowed to film in there at all, which is fair enough. So here's some signs to the residents for the people who are here. Just great. I would like to find some sort of date, and I think I've just found a date that might indicate when this was actually built. And look, I'm not sure what that actually says, but I do see a sign that indicates 1865. So I'll just surmise that this was when this monastery was built. So we're looking at an 1865 monastery. I can tell you that it's also heritage listed with the Ministry of Culture for Croatia. So they do recognise all religions in Croatia, which I think is very important. There's no sense of discrimination, I guess. And they don't, I think they definitely segregate religion and state in Croatia. I think I've read that somewhere as well. But what a beautiful building. I guess if you're a priest or a nun in deep meditation, you're looking somewhere to get closer to your God, whatever that might be, this wouldn't be a bad place to experience that. But there is a lot of apartments or rooms where those of the religious order would sleep and stay at. Okay, I think that's about it. I won't walk around too much more with the camera. I'll get the drone up, get a bird's eye view of this location. It's going to be quite spectacular if I can get the drone up. There's no restrictions to say I can't, as in a notice board, but as per usual, the software I use with my drone will let me know yes or no I can fly here. And just for those who might think that I'm being a little bit disrespectful or not following whatever the codes are, the software I actually have will not allow my drone to take off because I've hooked up with that software that tells you where you can't fly a drone. And there's been many occasions where, even in Croatia, where you get a warning saying you're in a restricted area or an authorised area and you cannot fly. So we'll see how we go. I just wanted to show you a closer where I believe there would have been at one stage a large wheel where they would have had a mill of some sort. I'm not sure if I can look in here. It's not locked at all. So I am quite curious to see where does that go to. And well, unfortunately that doesn't show me anything either. But that's a heck of a lot of amount of water. If there was a milling wheel spinning, this would have been its location. And I'm going to suggest that yes, it probably was. You can probably see that slot in that large piece of stone with the concrete where something might have been mounted to get the initial wheel to spin. But it is just terrific. All right. So here we are at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a day trip. Once again, I left quite early and had a bit of a look around, and it's not even lunchtime yet. And what I'll try to do is I'll coordinate all the way back to where my little apartment is, or my little Airbnb stay is, and we'll try to find a local cafe where they serve some of the more traditional foods. I'm not a big fan of the restaurants. I absolutely think if you're coming to this part of the world that you need to experience the locally made in the small towns and villages where they have these cafes. And some of the food, they give you too much. That's the problem. And it's very cost effective with the Australian dollar, I guess with any dollar. And the quality of food, they get all their produce from around the corner at some farmer's place, or they have their own bit of farming land where they grow all the garden vegetables and whatnot. So anyway, if you did like the video, by all means click on that like button or that thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing does not cost you 1 cent, but it really helps out the channel immensely. But most importantly, stay safe, commute safe, and have a great day. And thanks for watching.